Hello everyone, welcome to Environment Technology News Hour. This is a weekly online program on environment technology, and as you know, this is managed and owned by the Technobiz and happens on every Tuesday. Namaskar, Sawadee Krap. Welcome you all for this Environment Technology News Hour. As I mentioned to you, this program is owned by Technobiz. Let me brief you about Technobiz, what is Technobiz and what kind of services we offer for the industry and also with reference to the environment technology as well. Technobiz is based in Thailand, established in 2005. It is recognized as International Resource Center for Industries and Technologies. Our main pillar of the Technobiz is professional education. We offer extensive training programs for the industry professionals across the various industries and also technologies. And along with the professional education, we offer various business services for the benefit of the business development and promotion of the technologies. When it comes to the business, the services we offer, our services are pretty much global. And, we have trade exhibitions, training programs, webinars. We also have networks, business networks, which we meet on regular basis. We have publications, and we do offer a talent search and knowledge test. And we do also offer a technical consulting by working with some of our experts. And we offer the integrated marketing for the companies who are interested to promote their businesses through our platforms. And the news hour like today, which we have in the program on a weekly basis. So this is briefly on what are the services we offer for the industries and technologies. When it comes to the business focus, we're pretty much broad. We have two segments, polymer and non-polymer. When it comes to polymer, we focus on the rubber industry, plastics industry, polyurethane, and adhesives and coatings, chemical technologies. And when it comes to non-polymer, we're talking about energy, environment, water filtration, membrane technologies, advanced materials, and also some of the process technologies as well. So this is a broad spectrum of the business focus for the Technobiz. And we also have, as I mentioned, the exhibitions. We're organizing an exhibition for membranes and filtration exhibition during the 29th to 31st March next year. And we have on the Recycling and Recovery Expo in the same period in Bangkok next year. We do have online training program, and we have developed extensive training modules on the membrane, particularly membrane filtration. Currently, we have 32 modules available, and they are available on demand as well as in the schedule. So you can check the details at the knowhow-webinars.com. And these are the books what we have. Okay, and we have published membrane water treatment, desalination. You can check our website store.technobiz.org about these books if you like to purchase them or like to know more information about them. Okay, so that's briefly about Technobiz. Let's welcome you all for this episode number 10 of the Environment Technology News Hour. In this news hour, today's episode, we have Dr. Jayant Keskar. He is a founding director and CEO of Envrotech based in Australia. We will be discussing and presenting about the value-added products from plastic waste, technology trends and practices. Let me brief you about Dr. Jayant. He has been in the industry for more than 30 years, and particularly with experience in the sustainable environmental management with emphasis on research and development, innovation, project development and implementation. He has worked on different innovative technologies for water, wastewater, waste, and renewable energy, and established a robust professional work relationship through the effective networking and communication with different stakeholders. And he has worked in interdisciplinary cross-culture and multinational teams in India, New Zealand, and Australia in doing various environmental projects. And he has adopted innovative approaches and technologies for reducing carbon footprint and making a better impact on social and environmental landscapes. As you can see, Dr. Jayant Keskar has extensive experience, and I'm sure this presentation is useful to all of us. Let's welcome Dr. Jayant to make a presentation on the value-added products from plastic waste, technology trends, and practices. Dr. Jayant, please come on board.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Jayant Keskar, and I'm based in Australia. My company is Envirotech Private Limited, which basically provide various sustainable environmental solutions that leads ultimately to the reduced carbon footprint, increased sustainability, at the same time reducing the operating cost. So what I would like to do is I would like to share my screen with you and start the presentation. So what I'm going to talk today is about value-added products from plastic waste. What are the technologies and trends that we have currently? Looking into the plastic stuff, we know very well that plastic is an integral part of our life. Like, we do use plastic when we wake up in the morning, using the toothbrush, or when we go to the bed. Till that time, there are different sort of angles we touch the plastic, or the plastics comes to in our life. So looking into this plastic stuff, which has been started, that revolutionized thing early 1950s, now it has reached to the state that it is become like, everywhere, right from not only in your day-to-day life, but even in other parts of the industry. Like, for example, you're talking about the medicinal industry, you're talking about even the wastewater industry, where you have the pipelines made up of plastics and other stuff. So there are different areas where all the plastic is being used, and definitely it has got the real value. Obviously, like, convenience of the plastic is that it doesn't get corroded. There are no any issues about the weight, higher weight as well. And based on that, definitely, like, it has got the real value for adding into the day-to-day life. But at the same time, apart from these major plastic usage, we also have some single-use plastics, and that is somewhere about 40% of the total plastic that is being produced every year. And these plastic also have like food wrappers and everything. It has got lifespan of very few minutes, like hours, but when you put it into the environment, it does persist for a longer time, maybe hundreds of years before it get degraded. So looking into that, definitely, like, there are possibilities wherein we can use this plastic that is being thrown out as a resource, and then reduce the environmental pollution in a longer way, and switching over to different options. So this is what I'm trying to discuss today about all those aspects. Now, looking into these few statistics about the politics, as I told you, like, it somewhere started the production in 1950s, early 1950s, wherein you have, say, about 2.3 million tons of plastic production, which has reached to around 400 million ton in 2015, and it is expected that it is more or less double into 2050. So having said that, all that plastic that is being generated, not all the plastic is utilized in a better way, and there are a lot of plastic waste that is being generated in the whole process. Now, another important aspect is, as I told you, like, single-use plastic, which is a plastic bag. Now, when you're looking at the plastic bag, there are about 5 trillion plastic bags that are being used worldwide every year. And I was surprised to understand, like, a very small island between New Zealand and Chile, there were some plastic items found from Russia, United States of America, China, Japan, from those countries which are so far away from that particular area into the ocean. And according to the UN, there is about 7 billion tons of plastic waste generated globally so far. And obviously, like, only 10%, that is what they said, is recycled. Now this this particular percentage of recycling has been changing because of the awareness, because of the after effects of the plastic waste that is being seen or pursued by different government organizations, different communities, different councils. But still, like a lot of plastic waste is generated in the whole process. Now, when you look into the overall plastic production, the major plastic production players in the world, like in Asia, we have about like 51% of the plastic is being plastic production is being done, while in Europe that percentage is like 17%. In USA you have 19%. Middle East and Africa you get about 5%. And as I said earlier, like since a lot of plastic waste is being generated, most of the plastic waste end up into the ocean, and it is estimated again by the US that about 75 to around 200 million tons of plastic is currently found in the ocean. So looking into these staggering figures, like we have to think definitely like how best we can utilize the plastic in a better way, so that that is beneficial for not only the society but also to the community and the environment and everyone. Now, as you already aware, this is a basic things, like there are different type of plastics, and these plastics are, for example, PET, which is a polyethylene terephthalate. Normally what water bottle that we drink, water bottle that we use, this is a PET bottles. Looking into the HDPE things, like various shampoo bottles, milk bottles, or the freezer bags and ice cream containers, they are like typically HDPE. You will also find the HDPE material that is being used in the wastewater treatment, like HDPE pipes and valves and other stuff, like even the irrigation thing, like you're talking about the agriculture industry. Those sort of drip irrigation pipe are made up of HDPE. You're talking about LDPE again, which is a low density polyethylene, which contains again the trays and containers and food packaging films and those type of stuff. When you look into the potato chips, which is again very common plastic, which is a PP, which is a polypropylene plastics, so you get the sort of caps and other things from that. Then apart from that, you have again this sort of polystyrene and extra expanded polystyrene material as well. So having said that, there are a lot of things that you need to look into different plastic streams, and all that plastics which is being generated or in our day-to-day life, it's certainly being thrown out and it ends up into the landfill. So end of the day, we have to think how best we can utilize this particular material when you use it. After usage, how you can apply in a better manner. Now, looking into the life cycle of the plastic, as I told you, like most of the plastic waste ends up into the ocean. Now, when you see all this process, like when you do the manufacturing of the plastic, you get that material being filled, whether it is like shampoo or food material or any other stuff. And in our day-to-day life that we consume those things, whatever material that is being packed into the plastic containers or anything, and then ultimately that is being collected by as a municipal solid waste, and then that is being thrown out to the landfill. Now when it ends up into the landfill, typically like there are very few areas into the landfill who really have this sort of separation facilities, who really do care about the environment, and then they think that yes, we have to separate out all the material which is organic and inorganic and metal and everything. So these sort of material resource facilities, they are being built up in a recent year at few locations. But end of the day, what happens is all that plastic which is been sitting in the landfill site, it gets slowly like decomposed. What happens is like there are certain chemicals in the plastic that are being again mixed with the water, and then you found some sort of leachate formation. Again, that is very bad for the groundwater stuff. Some of the plastic again found flown into the rivers, and through the river it ends up into the ocean. And ocean animal, again, that they eat that plastic. When you're talking about the fish growing and other stuff, if you're consuming the fish, then the plastic enters into the fish, and if you are eating that fish particularly, then that sort of plastic, in terms of maybe a microplastic or anything, again being consumed by human being, which is again not very good for the human being as well. So this sort of things that are happening as on today, and that need to be definitely stopped, and that need to be definitely taken care of. Now, looking into the overall view of the plastic market segment, like there could be, like, I have divided into two, like type of plastic that is being used and the industry sector wherein that plastic is being used. As you see here, like most of the plastic that is being used into the market is like non-food packaging, which consumes about 41.41% share, while the food contact packaging, like when you're talking about the packaging any particular food, like you're talking about the meat or biscuit or bread or anything, that is about 28% around. Again, plastic is very used widely into the construction, automotive, and other sort of industry sectors, which is less percentage. So packaging, basically, like when you're talking about both the packaging together, which is about 69%, that is the largest market share of the market segment, as you see here. But when it comes to the type of plastic, as we see in the previous slide, you have PET, HDP, LDP, and those sort of stuff. PET definitely dominates into the market, like 55% of the plastic is PET, and HDP is followed by HDP, which is about 33% around. So LDP and other type of plastic is much less. PP, as I mentioned earlier, like is being used for most of the food packaging, like what we have back in the potato chips and all those things in the market. Now, obviously, like current practices, when you're talking about the world all over, like this is typically a linear economy. So what we do here is we just put this thing, purchase the material and then use it and then throw it out straight away. So end of the day, what happens is we need to move from the linear economy to the circular economy across the entire plastic value chain, in order to ensure that it starts from the basic thing, it starts from the production, it starts from the design itself, and then how you use it more sustainably, how you manage the waste more sustainably. So those sort of things, when you're talking about, this is all about the circular plastic economy, which is again a viable alternative to the existing linear economy system that is being practiced all over the world at most locations. So this sort of circular economy definitely can contribute to a less plastic being downcycled, incinerated, or landfilled. And obviously, as I told you, like when you're landfilling all those things, there is a possibility that there is a microplastic being generated and enters into the water body, groundwater, or the river water or ocean water, and then again came back to you. So end of the day, if we follow this sort of circular economy, wherein we are able to separate out all the plastic material properly and then utilize it in a better way properly, then there are good chances of achieving the circular economy in the plastic stuff. Now, as you are all aware, like plastic is good for the human being, but at the same time, there are some environmental concerns about the plastic waste. As you are all aware, the microplastic is one of the things, but apart from that, like because it is not really degraded in a faster way, it sits in there for a long time. So there are a lot of issues related to economical issues, ecological, economical, as well as the health issues of that. And basically, like when you're talking about the plastic sitting into the environment, it may be consumed by the wildlife, or I've seen some of the cases, read something back in India, like a lot of plastic being taken out from the stomach of the cow, because what happens is, like, cow was not aware, like this is not really eatable thing, but it consumed those things, and that it has got some issues around that. So those sort of things does happen into the environment, which is not really good for the animals or the wildlife even. Looking into the economic stuff, like it definitely damage all the vessels and fishing operations and everything. When you're talking about all that plastic waste on the beaches and everything, then it also costs a lot to the tourism. People definitely would not like to go to the places where you can see a lot of trash, plastics trash and everything. And as I say, like this definitely has a lot of impact on the human health through the food chain when it enters into the food chain through in the form of the microplastics. So all those things like need to be taken care of. Simultaneously, like when you're talking about the plastics, you are using the virgin resources, like you are using the fossil fuel to generate these type of things. So like considering this, like we have definitely very low level of like fossil fuels available currently, and then we have to use this in a more precise way. So that's why, like, we are switching over again to the sustainable, more sustainable renewable energy solutions. Now looking into this, there are definitely also some sort of impact on the additives that are used in the plastic manufacturing. When you are using the plasticizer or fire retardants, they get away into the water and then get dissolved into the water, possibly over a period of time, again impacting the human health and other stuff. So volume wise also, like if you see, this is a large volume of the plastic waste that is being generated, and at many locations there are sort of illegal dumping that is also being practiced. So all in all, there are definitely like a lot of environmental concerns about the plastic waste that definitely need to be taken care of. So looking into this now, different value added solutions, there are a lot of things happening around, because everyone thinks that this is really a burning problem, this is really a problem that need to be addressed even by the UN, and a lot of international organizations are looking into these waste, this type of material, how best that can be recycled, how that can be utilized in a more sustainable way and other stuff. So there are different technological solutions that are currently available, or that are currently being practiced into the market, and these are again like from the small scale to the larger scale level, that is what is happening around. And these typically include the plastic waste to generate granule, plastic waste to generate some fuel. You're talking about plastic waste to do the farm product, like if you want to have some sort of irrigation system, or if you want to have some flower pot or anything like that, those sort of things can be done. You can also make the roads or the paver thing from the plastic waste. Some of the universities and the councils were working on the shelter house for refugees, particularly, wherein you can build them at a cheaper cost, wherein there is no any issues of corrosion and other stuff. Some of the people also tried in getting the apparels, like the jacket and those sort of stuff from the plastic waste as well. At the same time, plastic waste can be again molded into the furniture for the school, or any other, like putting in the garden and those sort of things. So there are a lot of innovative solutions under development in all over the world, which definitely have better resource recovery, from the plastic waste, by and large. Now, going into individual sort of technological stuff, like plastic waste to granule, again is very common and being practiced at many European, and even particularly in Australia also, that is being practiced. But for that, what you need is, obviously you need a clean type of material like HDP and LDP that is coming from the municipal solid waste. What you can do is, you can collect it, basically do the chipping, and then sell it into the market, which will have a very, very good value into the market. So the different processes that can be that are involved into the whole granulation processes, you need to collect the material from various collectors, like particularly in different regions, there are some different bins for plastic collections as well. And you can get that bin separately, wherein you have only the plastic material, and then that can be sorted out at the center, wherein you want to make the granule. And then depending on what the plastic and resin code, there's some optical sorting technologies are available to do that. And once you've done that thing, then you can do the chipping, and then wash those chipping, and then form the pellet, as you see into this picture here on the right hand side. So these sort of pellet can be sold into the market at a good price, and that is again really a very good way of recycling the plastic waste as such. But as I say, like the very most important thing for that is you need to clean the plastic properly, so there should not be any sort of contamination in that. Looking into the other sort of technology that we are talking about is plastic waste can also be converted into the fuel, which is a diesel-like material. Now, all that material, which is like LDP, HDP, PP, can be added into this sort of pyrolysis process, wherein you can potentially get diesel out of that, diesel like material out of that. And again, like the purity of this material, that the output fuel, which is a diesel like material, depends on what is the input quality. So typically, like when you have this sort of plastic waste material, you have, say, 1 ton of the material, then you get somewhere about 50 to 70% of fuel from that. You also get about 15 to 25% of the gas, which can be utilized again for incoming plastic material to burn. As you see in the right hand side picture, this is a small plant given in the Nestle farm, Nestle company, which is again a multinational company. They really look for the ESG, what we call it as here, environment, social grievances. And then, or you can say back in India, like, the CSR type of thing, corporate social responsibility type of thing. So they claim that, yes, we are taking care of the environment and producing all that material which is being used in a beneficial way. As you see, all the three byproducts that you see here, which is either the fuel or the gas or the carbon sludge that remains after the burning of this material at controlled temperature, you can get that all the three byproducts utilized in a beneficial way and in a more sustainable way. Now, as I told you, like, it's also possible to utilize this sort of plastic waste to generate some sort of farm products, and it can be converted like as into the fencing post. You can also make the fencing, proper fencing with these. You can convert it into the garden bin. You can use it for the edging as well. And the drip irrigation is another area wherein a lot of plastic being recycled. Again, the same plastic is being used for the preparing the another drip, because the drip irrigation system what you have that need to be replaced after a few years. So there are like different end products like that can be potentially done into the farm, wherein you can have the silage store or area particularly wherein you really want to store the grains and other stuff. You can use those sort of thing, the recycled plastic material converted into the farm type products as well on the site. As I told you, we also have like different opportunity to use it into the roads, like whether it is a normal road or whether it is a paving material that you can get it from the road. Now, every city, like in most of the countries, developed countries, they have the pedestrian or the walkway or the footpath, what you can call it as. Now, this is being done typically with the concrete material, which has got very high carbon emission. Again, when you're talking about the concrete, cement concrete generation and other stuff like production stuff, looking into that, if you are able to get the plastic collected properly and then utilize it mixed together to form some sort of paver things and then utilize that even for the road purpose, then that is definitely be helpful. And this has been done in some of the countries very successfully, wherein particularly in UK they are using this using into the road stuff. Even particularly in Australia, like they have used it using about 200,000 plastic bags and packaging, along with some glass bottle material and the toner from the printer cartridge, which is again a plastic material, and 50 ton of recycled asphalt to build the road here as well. So these sort of possibilities will end up again into a better utilization of the plastic material in a better way. Now, as I discussed earlier, like particularly in the UK, they have started building this type of material, wherein this can be given into the refugee area, the people who for the human being are there living there, and because this is lightweight, because this has got no corrosion, because this is very sturdy in the sense like it will not have any issues in the adverse conditions as well. So all those things what they develop, they call it as a storm board, which is again has major use of the plastic, and you can put those things pack up and then build a household for the sort of refugee area in a fastest possible way. So this ensures that they have particularly, as I said, they have their own area where there are no any fungal issues, like when you're talking about the particularly wooden type of thing, and if there is a lot of rainy rainy season there, you get a lot of fungus there formation even on the material like concrete material also you may form the fungus, but here there are no any possibilities of getting those things. And this was like been implemented in Jordan area very recently. Now looking into some different application, which is again apart from all those things into the fashion designing thing, it is possible again to get into the apparel formation with this plastic waste as well. With this usage of different plastic bags, you can basically form the lighter jacket, which is can protect you from the environment. And there is a company in US which is like Timberland. They teamed up with the sustainable fabric company Thread, and they create the boots from the recycled plastic as well. So there are different type of material that can be used from the human being from the plastic waste. But again, like looking into this, like this is the area where very few companies are doing in this area, because it is definitely like not a very cost effective solution. But definitely, like if you really wanted to do something about the plastic, then you can always claim that yes, this has got we did, by using the plastic apparel made up from plastic, we have saved so many tons of plastic getting into the landfill side. There are some innovative ways coming up as well. There is a company called Pure Cycle Technologies. Now, as you are aware, like basically like in any of the plastic material, you may have some odor and color and everything that has been added. And what they do is they they are like using the polypropylene, which is the second most plastic used in the world. 1% is being recycled, and they developed specific revolutionary process to remove the color, odor, contaminants from the polypropylene plastic waste and transform it into a malleable and pure resin, which is the basis of the plastic product. So they got success, and they implemented this type of thing in 2021, and now they are like the world is open for them. As very interestingly, what they found is like in their Ohio facilities, they found that they are able to reduce the carbon emission as compared to the normal plastic production. They are also like expected to use much less energy, and at the same time they can recycle the whole material from the MSW, like municipal solid waste, that they get it there. So if this is happening at a very good level at a and at different location, then definitely I think this is the very good particularly very good technology to implement for the plastic waste, because you are really extracting the resin from that, which is again the basis for the whole new plastic material as such. Obviously, like from the plastic, it is also possible to prepare some 3D print in urban furniture benches. Again, this has been practiced in the Europe. There are also possibilities like you can make some sort of plasterboard type of material from the plastic, and then from this particular plastic waste you can make different byproducts. As you see here, you can make the flower pot type of thing, you can make the the bookshelf, you can make the chair, or you can make the benches for the school kids as well. So all those things are very much possible, and the basic like advantage that you're going to get is you are getting this material from the recyclable plastic. So this again, like after its shelf life is over, it can again be recycled. It is a waterproof thing, termite proof thing. There's no like fire retardant, and as such you get the sound insulation possibly for that, thermal insulation you get, fungus proof, and it is high strength type of material. So there are multiple benefits of the plastic furniture that you prepare from the plastic waste. Now looking into this, nowadays you must be hearing about a lot on biodegradable and compostable plastic. Now sorry, biodegradable is again like the material which is attacked by the bacteria sorry, but over a period of time. Now it may take 6 months to few years. Like we say that plastic get degraded, but again over a period of maybe 40 years, 50 years, 100 years. But again, what we are looking into, the material need to be a compostable material. So a lot of things are happening around putting the polylactic acid type of material, converting that organic things into the sorry, the plastic, removing the plastic packaging stuff. So that may help you again to reduce the plastic pollution getting into the landfill site as well. Now, looking into different angles, like looking into the political, technical, and social influences that we have of the plastic waste. As I understand, like as we see, Europe is the forerunner into the plastic waste management. Again, like they have rules and regulations and legislation into the place where they are giving some incentive to drive the alternative. Like they have they give a lot of incentives if you are able to separate it out and achieve the circular economy at your end. So that's why the industries and the people who are generating plastic waste, definitely they are looking into this opportunity to grab the incentives from the government. Then also like that there are very high recycling rates from there, and use of energy from the waste methods, again they are being practiced into these countries. Particularly in China and India, they are also looking into these waste management processes. But current emphasis is there on low technology and laborious solutions, because the manpower cost is there very low. Obviously that is no problem for these sort of countries. Particularly what is happening here is like China was taking most of the plastic waste 4 years back, and then it stopped now taking the plastic waste from the countries, like importing plastic waste from different countries. So that has again put up a lot of influence on different countries all over the world who are transporting the waste to the Southeast Asian countries or the China particularly. Obviously, like UN has identified the marine plastic as a key global threat, and there are multiple programs in place to reduce the entry of the plastic into the marine environment. So they are trying to put a lot of solutions and technologies which will help to eliminate the plastic entering into the sea or the marine environment as such. Again, like banning on the single-use plastic in many parts of the world is a welcome step. This is happening, in Australia, like very recently. This has happened already in UK and in most of the parts of the Europe as well. So as I say, like there is sort of awareness that is being generated about the plastic waste by different government organizations, and that is definitely influencing the fate of the plastic waste as well. When you're talking about the economic influence, like we look into the cost of the virgin material versus the recycled plastic waste stream. So we definitely think that there is no like infinite source of the virgin material. So we have to use it more consciously. And then when you're talking about using the recycled material, then you may get some sort of offset as well from that, by producing higher value products and or the lower value with the endless feedstock as well. Now we're talking here again about the high purity waste stream have high value. When I say like when you have clear PET bottle and then you're selling into the market, you may get better value for that, rather than you have contaminated waste or not very pure sort of material. So those sort of things again reduces the value of that material that you are selling into the recycling market. Incentivizing recycling, as I told you, like UK and those sort of countries, they are doing that sort of thing. They are increasing the landfill disposal cost for the industry, for the council, or for everyone. And definitely that prompt to the fact that yes, if we are able to reduce that thing going to the landfill, then that will be helpful for us. So instead of that, a lot of new companies are again coming up into the market who are really looking into collecting the waste separately, particularly plastic waste separately, and then use it for their value addition, either generating energy from the waste or any other thing as well. Now, looking into the social influences that we are talking about, definitely I think there is a growing interest, not only from the government organization, but even from the community, from the common man. Yes, there are issues around the plastic waste material, because they could see in their day-to-day life. And for that, definitely like a shift in consumer habit to more environmental friendly practices like they are following. Particularly in many places I have seen, like people, they do prefer the product which mention that they are not using plastic. People where they are using the plastic bags to go to the market, like supermarket, and get some material, now they are getting the jute bag or some other cloth bag to go there and get that sort of thing. So these sort of shifting to the environmental friendly practices certainly make some difference about generating the plastic waste as such. Again, industry is also responding with the social license measure to offset the consumer concerns. Like they know, they are very well aware, like for example Nestle, when they say go into the market, or the Pepsi go into the market, yeah, we are recycling our plastic in a better way, people think yes, they are like having some sort of concern about the environment, and let us buy the product from these type of companies who are really caring for the environment. As I said to you, like they also put up some sustainability targets, adopting more circular economy approaches. For example, Nike, Dell, Procter and Gamble, Adidas, Target, Nestle, Pepsi, those sort of companies are definitely looking into that thing. You may have seen like the Nike has come up with some plastic material they collected from the marine, and then use it into their shoes as well. So there are like a lot of new approaches that are coming up into the whole market sector. And obviously like higher rate of recycled plastic use in automotive industry is also like due to increased consumer acceptance and downstream effect of the European Union legislation. Like most of the automotive companies like Ford, Chrysler, and Toyota, they are using the same thing. And as I told you, like corporate social responsibility, or ESG, environment social grievance, is a very important aspect for all those industries, which is definitely influencing the plastic waste material as such. Now, looking into the technological influence, definitely there are some system gaps, like collecting the waste in a proper way, in a cost-effective way is a very important thing, and how you can maximizing the volume, usability, and the value of the waste collected. Because as I say, like there are all the waste that is been gathered or sent into one particular bin. So instead of that, if you have different bin for different type of waste, that definitely will be helpful. That definitely need to be practiced, and that will also maximize the value of the product that is being produced. So there are different sort of specific gap for different specific material like PET, HDP. Like what you need is like optical sourcing, sorting and other stuff is required. Then PVC again is another different sort of material when you are adding into, for example, the waste to energy stuff, generating fuel and other stuff. Obviously, because of the chlorine present in that, there could be a lot of issues. So there are like possibilities of recovering chlorine and other stuff from this thing in a separate manner, separate thing, separate way, separate technology. So that need to be worked out very well. So all those things, like end of the day, how you can best collect it, how you can sort it out, and how you can recycle in a better way is very, very important, for all this sort of plastic waste material. Now, looking into some simple measures, that I thought, came to my mind. Okay, can we do really reduce the waste at source? Is it possible for the industry to do that sort of stuff? Now, when they are designing any product coming into the market, like can they design based on the circular system? Like can they think that, yeah, this has been designed, and they think that, yeah, what is the whole life cycle of this the plastic material that they are giving it to the consumer, and then how that can come back again into the process. So I think there is an owner's responsibility than consumer's responsibility. That sort of shift change need to be done as well. Obviously, like when I say food and non-food grade plastic has to be separated, so that you can utilize the food grade plastic back for the same purpose, which is again high value material for you. Manufacture distribution of recycled plastic need to be done locally rather than transporting it away from 200 or 500 kilometers and then process it, getting it back here. Again, in the whole process, you also have a lot of carbon emission stuff, CO2 emission stuff as well. So that need to be changed. It has to be done like a decentralized manner. Obviously, the government policies for the value addition, waste reduction, again, will be very much helpful for improving this overall current situation of the plastic waste as such. Again, as I say, like source segregation at the facilities, at the decentralized system, in maybe from the human being, from the community, from the industry, that also need to be practiced in a better way. So as an individual, I think what can we do is, when we go to the beaches or river, we can see to it that, they are properly clean. If you think any plastic is there, you can pick the plastic up, put it into the bin wherein you can recycle the plastic. when you go to the shop, we should shop it more sustainably. Like, as I say, instead of getting the plastic bag to the supermarket or the vegetable market, you can get your jute or cloth bag with you. So try to get sort of zero waste lifestyle. You can reduce your own waste material, whether it is plastic waste or organic waste or food waste that is being generated. You can try to reduce that to the minimum level. Try to recycle it back your home. For example, food waste, you can utilize it for the compost back home as well. You can travel sustainably and be advocate of the change. So these are the simple things that came to my mind when we are talking about the plastic waste here. So end of the day, I think what is being important is, we can basically achieve sustainability, by reducing the plastic waste and getting it, in a better way as such. So this is what I would like to say about it. And if you have any further questions, you're most welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Jayant. Excellent presentation. Really enjoyed it. You not only give what is possible with reference to the plastic waste, but also what as human beings or citizens, responsible citizens, what to do, with reference to the managing the waste. So thank you very much. It's excellent presentation. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Thank you.
Let's have a little conversation on some of the issues I'd like to discuss with you with reference to the plastic waste. You yourself is a microbiologist also, right? We did a PhD in the microbiology.
Yeah, I am a microbiologist, and I definitely, forgot. I haven't added it because recently there are some advancement in that area as well. Like few people found some bacteria which are able to eat the plastic material, but that was really at a very initial stage. That's why I really added it into that. But again, as you said, yes, being a microbiologist, I should have definitely added that thing in that. But yeah, so getting back, yes, I'm a microbiologist, but most of the thing that I did was into environmental engineering stuff. So I was doing the research like mainly on the site, trying to identify the problem of the industry and trying to solve the problem with more innovative, sustainable ways to do that.
Can you explain in details about your company, Envirotech, what kind of services you offer, what kind of projects you are currently doing, so that for the audience also understand your scope of work?
Yeah, basically, like my company provides innovative, sustainable solutions and services that help to reduce the overall carbon footprint for the industry, for the community, for the councils. So current project that I'm doing are in different industry sector. For example, I'm currently doing project in a poultry, which is again a meat processing industry. So they are having a waste treatment plant generating biogas, and they're not getting good amount of biogas from that. So obviously, like I'm trying to help them to optimize the biogas production. That will help them to understand how they can achieve not only the biogas production but also get the benefit from other areas, because being a meat industry, they utilize carbon dioxide, and then carbon dioxide consumption for them, that industry, is about $1.2 million in a year. So there is a possibility that they can separate out carbon dioxide from the biogas and then eliminate that cost $1.2 million that they are currently incurring. So these type of things that they were not aware, I'm trying to tell them, convince them, which they like it very much. Another project, like I would say that for a council area, I just completed a feasibility study about what is the current status of managing water, wastewater, solid waste, as well as the energy, and find out what are the gaps in that wherein they can improve the overall performance. For example, like this is a small town, there is a regional council wherein the population is about 8,000, and they transport their food waste, which is about 250 kilometers one way. So obviously in the transportation, and that goes ultimately to the landfill. So in this whole process, they generate a lot of carbon greenhouse gas emission or CO2 emissions, and there is a possibility to eliminate that to big zero by implementing some on-site rapid thermophilic composting system. They can also improve their energy and other stuff, by adding different innovative technological solutions. For example, applying some thermoreflective coating on the building so that their air conditioning consumption can be reduced. So I try to put into the market or to the end users, after assessment, what is the best solution which is out of the box, which can help them not only to reduce their operating cost but also to reduce their carbon footprint as well, and while in the same process achieve sustainability. I'm also discussing this plastic waste project with one of the local councils, where they transport the plastic waste about 300 kilometers to the mainland here. So there is a possibility they can utilize that, converting into the fuel material, and then that can be utilized into the diesel generator if it is really clean material. So a feasibility study that I am proposing to them. So all those things, like, as I say, try to do some sort of innovative things simultaneously for the end user or the industry sector.
Yes, it's innovative and also the pragmatic in economically viable solutions. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that's true.
And when I mentioned to you about your background on the microbiology, you talked about bacteria to break down the plastics. Can you elaborate on what kind of developments in this area? I think this is interesting for the future. If you can break down the plastic with the bacteria, what is current developments on it?
So they found, particularly in Germany, as well as in Japan, they found some bacteria which has got the enzymes that will basically degrade the plastic material. But again, what I read over, or what the information I have got is, again, it is not a complete degradation. When you're talking about the degradation, as you know, like the end process or the end byproduct are typically like CO2 or acetate, or some easily final product which will never break down further. But in this case, what they found in the laboratory, because this is at a laboratory stage, and what they found is typically you get somewhere about 70 to 90% reduction into the plastic waste that is being degraded. So still you will have some part of that plastic remaining there. But again, we need to do some sort of cost benefit analysis. Like, again, if you add the bacteria there, converted into like 70% converted into simple, or 90% converted to simple organics, CO2 and other stuff, which is not posing any problem to the environment, then what will be that 10% or 20% remaining material, and what is the toxicity level of that, whether it will be increased or decreased or to same extent, or all those things. But having said that, it is definitely helpful, because say consider that you have, say, 1 million ton of waste that you have, and after that bacteria conversion rate is like, say, about 80-90% thing, you only have 100,000 kilos or tons of the waste, so from 1 million to 100,000 ton, which is like quite a big difference, and then you can manage that particular waste in a better way. So we need to wait and watch about this sort of development, in my opinion, how it proceeds and how it progresses further. But this is definitely an interesting space, that need to be watched, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. Yeah. I have always one general question. I see a lot of times on the shopping malls, this made by recycled products or recycled plastic, something like that. Do you think by promoting made from the recycled plastics, without showing it, if you sell that one, which is a better way? The perception is a reality, right? Oh, okay, this is a recycle. Of course, you think you're saving environment, but you just mix up with the original plastics and the things, right? The way you promote the commercial plastics or products, without saying it is recycled plastics, which is made from recycled plastics. Is it a good way to promote it, or without it, is it beneficial? Which is really workable?
I think definitely when I particularly the area where I'm living, like in the country where I'm living, I do think like when you promote that recyclable plastic into any of the product, then people do care. People get attracted to that. Even one of the few of the supermarkets, they started the strategy wherein they wanted to go for plastic free aisle. Like there are different aisles where you go and market the things, but at the same time, whatever product that they have, and they advertise it in such a way that they are using some recycled plastic in that, then that definitely help to get the people attracted or to get better sell. But again, it comes at the cost as well, because you have to convince people, you have to tell people not only in one way but in multiple ways, through the TV, to the media, through different aspects. You have to reach to the people to give that sort of message to them. But in my opinion, certainly this sort of awareness is coming up wherein people do care. Yeah, if that product is being used from the recycled plastics, then they prefer that sort of stuff.
Okay. You talked about various solutions on the value addition, which are very interesting, is the plastic waste to oil.
Yeah.
How much really, in practice? I know most of the times I heard about is a small scale or pilot scale and things like that. And what is, what kind of factors are not making it more promoted, this plastic waste to oil?
Yeah, basically, as you're aware, this sort of process is complicated in terms of there are a lot of engineering things that come into the process. Like there are a lot of temperature controls and valves and pressure control and all those things together. And obviously, because this is not a very simple thing, you just heat it, burn it, and then convert it into plastic. You need to maintain a lot of other conditions. You need to add some sort of material that will enhance the process as well, which is again like a biodegradable thing. It's not like a chemical thing. So in the whole process, you need to have a system which is engineered design system, number one, which need a lot of manpower to operate it. Number two, at the same time, when you look into the cost benefit thing, it is not really cost effective, and that is why whoever is implementing these particular technology, converting into the fuel, it is being practiced by mainly all the multinational big players, wherein they see the advantage from the corporate social responsibility point of view. If you're going to any sort of small industry wherein you have plastic waste, we can convert it into the simple thing, but that is not going to be really economically viable, because you may have more than 10 years or 15 years sort of payback that you get in there. So just as an example, and these systems are again not, as you said, very big. Like whatever system that I've seen, the big system is about 10 or 20 ton per day thing that I have seen. There may be some big systems, I don't deny it, but what I know is these are the small scale system, like 1 ton, half a ton, or even 100 kilo, for example. The system that I show in my presentation was 50 kilo per day sort of thing. But again, when you look into that payback period, it may be more. But at the same time, being a multinational company, they always promote, yes, we are using this material, waste material, and then using the byproduct back in the boiler to generate steam. So they know there is a circular economy that we have achieved there.
It's also probably something to do with the quality of the oil also generated. I think that also matters, right?
Yes, yeah. Certainly. Yeah. Because that again depends on what input you have. So if you have one single pure high purity input, then you get pure quality material. Right. But if you're talking from the municipal solid waste, then definitely it is a different ball game.
Unless you are living in Australia, one of the developed countries, and are there any lessons that we can learn, particularly Asian countries, in terms of the managing the plastic waste? That actually, Australia implemented very well that the best practice of Australia with reference to the plastic waste.
Yeah, certainly, it's a very good question. As I told you during the presentation, like 3-4 years back, what do we call it as a China sword here? China had stopped most of the plastic thing, like coming from Australia or any other country to their country. So that import or exporting this material was a very common phenomenon earlier. Now this, because China had stopped that, what you call it as China sword, that sort of thing has moving around here. Otherwise, nothing was happening around here. Like they get the plastic waste collected and then transport it straight away to China, and it is then China's responsibility to do that sort of thing, to manage this sort of waste material. But now the things are changing, and as I mentioned in my presentation, a few things are coming up, like people have started getting the plastic waste, separating it out at the source. They have MRF system, they have optical sorting system, wherein they are managed to separate out LDP, HDP, and those sort of thing material, and utilize it in a better way. The place where I am staying, they are getting a 10-ton a day sort of waste to fuel sort of plant from this clean plastic material. In Victoria, they have already done this sort of paving roads from the plastic waste, all mixing with some other material as well, glass and other stuff. So those things are happening around. There are some companies, small to medium scale companies, who are really doing the farm product from that. Then there is an awareness about the plastic waste in the agriculture industry, particularly like all that material which is used in the greenhouse, which is used into the dripping as such. So they started collecting the dripping thing. They get incentive from the government to collect that, to put it out separately, and then ask them to give it to the people who are really recycling that back thing, whole thing. So things are changing here in this part of the world, and similarly, like in other parts of the world, I think what is more important is the government should incentivize all those things, activities. They should educate the people, tell them like what are the major problems of plastic pollution, how it can enter in your body, and that can affect your whole health system. So all those things, awareness program, education sharing program, and putting some regulations and legislation around the plastic waste, apart from decentralized stations wherein they can so segregate the material and then utilize it for different byproduct formation locally, that is what is I think can be done into Southeast Asian countries or other parts of the world.
I think you rightly put, it's not about technology, it's down to the educating the people. And if people understand it very well and manage waste, manage it, understand it, the way they handle the plastics, I think the problem of the plastic waste is gone. So that is a challenge, I guess, isn't it? Yeah. You talked about the payments, which is realistic. I think that, and I'm wondering whether you have, did you drove through those roads? How was your experience?
So how was my experience about
the payments or the roads made by the plastic waste?
Yeah, they are equally good roads. Like I haven't seen them, but I know I read the reports, and I have the people, my friends, who really have seen those roads as well, and those roads are equivalent. And as far as strength and longevity as well as the performance is concerned, there's absolutely no problem.
Okay. You also mentioned about microplastics. I mean, nowadays, I think all intergovernmental organizations talked about this serious issue about microplastics. Even they talk about toothpaste also have some microplastics also there. Kind of people getting worried. Even the schools, they're talking about microplastics. How do you think we should manage these microplastics?
See, this is a very, very broader topic, and definitely like it needs a lot of timing to work out how best we can deal with that. But in short, what I think is what is more important in order to eliminate the microplastic is you see to it that all that plastic waste that is being generated is being recycled or is being stored or is being processed in a more sustainable way, so that it doesn't find any way into getting into the water bodies and entering into the whole life cycle as such. Microplastic, a lot of things are happening again in the big utility industries. Like last week I visited Melbourne Water, so they're also having like water quality management program, and one of the things is this microplastic they monitor on a regular basis. So all those things need to be worked out, how best we can eliminate the plastic waste going to the landfill, going to the leachate generation and other stuff. So those sort of things can be definitely followed up to tackle the microplastic issues as such.
And the issues of a plastic waste is not new. It's been, we're talking, I think, a couple of decades, since and a lot of research, a lot of money is being funded for the developing solutions. Of course, we come up with some solutions, practical and pragmatic solutions. What else research should be done to dealing with plastic waste? Is there something still there that we need to, okay, one is the bacteria, the breakdown on the microbiological aspects. What else can be done in terms of research?
I think that there's a gap between, as I say, like educating the people, like, if we can do that at a larger scale in every part of the world, in every community, in every
I'm talking about research side, in terms of solutions, okay, education is another, that is a, I think is a forever, that is a forever solution, you need to since the beginning, but in terms of research,
in terms of research, in my opinion, as I say, like we need to find out something which you can add as an additive, and then that will enhance the biodegradability of the plastic as well. So this is again like out of the box sort of thinking. Like if you have the plastic material and if you are embedding any material, that will see to it that that plastic get degraded after say 5 year, 10 year down the line automatically to the simple product, then that will help in the long term. Another thing is, which is already happening in the market or in all over the world, is wherever possible we can replace the plastic with the compostable material as such. So as you are aware, like most of the products that are coming up into the market, like changing the straw material with the material which is been sourced from the agriculture byproduct as well. So all those things that need to be looked into as a research material, wherein find out what are the main areas causing the problem, banning single-use plastic, how it is going to help them, and what are the replacement that can be done, and you can do some sort of research on that as well in the long term. And all those things collectively will help to eliminate these sort of issues all over the world.
The plastics is a beautiful material. It solves lots of problems. It's just a matter of how to manage it wisely.
Correct.
Creating that, the source. It's management is a big challenge, I guess.
100% agreed. Yeah. That's
true. Dr. Jayant is a really nice presentation, and have a nice discussion about what is going on the plastic waste. Before we end this session, would you like to share any final remarks to the audience, please?
Final remark, as I mentioned in my last 2 slides, if everything starts from you, so you be the champion, you be the the person who will bring the change, and that is how it is going to help to the environment. That is how it is going to be helpful for our next generation, or for the only Mother Earth that we have. Recently had World Environment Day, so obviously like 5th of June. So we can always place to it that yes, we can manage this sort of waste more sustainably, and see to it that no sort of microplastics or any sort of pollutant are being generated as far as we are concerned. And then in the long term, that will be helpful for everyone, and win-win situation for everyone as such.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jayant. It's a really nice presentation, very informative and educational. Thanks once again.
Yeah, thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.
Guys, that's the end of the presentation and the discussion on the value-added products from plastic waste. What are the technology trends and the practices by Dr. Jayant Keskar, who is the director and CEO of the Envrotech from Australia. I hope you find this presentation and the discussion useful to you. I welcome you all to watch this session. If you'd like to watch again on YouTube at the Technobit channel, feel free to check it out. I see you in the next episode. Thank you all.